Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we have Mariana Santos with us. Is that how you say your name? Is it
Mariana? Yeah, Mariana or Mariana. Okay. I answer to both.
Oh, good. Mariana is a Brazilian fit dance coach. Okay, so you have to say the name because I'm butchering it, obviously. She does the Brazilian dance,
yes,
which is kind of so cool. So tell us how you got started. Tell us the name again. Welcome to the show. We're so glad you're here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So I'm the founder of BrazilyFitness. So our main goal is to transform lives by boosting confidence from the inside out using the magic of Brazilian dance, fitness, music, and lifestyle. So like you were talking about our dance program, that's our first certification program. So it's called Brazili Dance, and it uses the hottest Brazilian music and moves. And it's all about you learning to love the skin you're in and boosting your confidence so that you can chase your dreams in and out of the gym.
That is so fun. I just was over on your website and I just wanted to get up and dance.
Yes. Mission accomplished then.
Yes. Okay. So how did you get started in this?
Yeah, so let's rewind to like when I was a teenager. So my parents are Brazilian, but I was born and raised here in Canada. So I didn't really, speak Portuguese at home. I was like that kid that, my parents would speak to me in Portuguese, but I would only answer in English. So when I was 14, my dad got a job in São Paulo, Brazil. So we had to move there. And as you can imagine, as a teenager, I wasn't very happy with that decision, right? I was also very self-conscious, a little overweight. I was very shy. I hated physical activity because I thought physical activity was just sports because that's what I learned in gym class at school. And I did not like sports. So when I moved to Brazil, it was a huge culture shock. First, I had to learn the language, pass high school, meet new friends. And then I got introduced to Brazilian music and dance and fitness in general. And just, it made me feel so alive. And it was like, wow, like there are other ways that I can move my body and take care of my health that don't require me throwing a ball. And so it just like really spoke to me and made such a big difference in my life. So it propelled me into my fitness career. So I came back to Canada, went to college, started working as a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. And I've been doing that for the past 19 years. But when I was 25, so about 8-9 years into my career, I was like, you know what? I really miss Brazil. So I ended up going back by myself this time and got, a deeper dive into the culture and the music and the dance. And I actually met my husband taking his dance class in Rio. So we really connected through that. And because we're both so in love with music and the styles, we decided that, this is something that we can share with the world. So we've been working on this for the past year or so.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a great story. But just the whole, it's kind of romantic, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So you do it with your husband.
Yes.
And is the dance itself, tell us about the dance itself. I envision salsa because, that's
Oh,
like,
salsa. Okay. Yeah. So normally salsa isn't Brazilian, but normally what people think about when it comes to Brazilian music and dance is samba. Samba is like the most well known for carnival and things like that. But actually, like part of my mission is to show all the other styles too, because samba is just really the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Brazilian music. So now we're starting to get more of Brazilian funk is starting to be more recognized through TikTok and Instagram. There are a lot of people sharing certain songs. There's also a Brazilian artist named Anita who is starting to collaborate with international artists, and she's become really building a name for herself outside of Brazil. So people are starting to know what Brazilian funk is. But besides Brazilian funk, there's sertanejo, which is like similar to like a country style, but like a little bit different. And then we have something called forró, which actually like the name comes in, it's supposed to mean for all. And it's really like a great way for social connection. And it's like a great like party type vibe. And then there's so many other styles. So our class, like we use a little bit of all the different styles. So and they're all just like energetic, upbeat, and they just make you feel happy. And that's, I think, what is the secret sauce.
Yeah, because who can be sad when you're dancing?
Yeah,
right.
I agree. I agree.
And it's so much better than working out.
Hmm.
Whole working out thing. I mean, you can do that while you're like standing there cooking or running the vacuum even.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I do. Actually, I have an almost 3-year-old, and she's always loved dancing with us. She's been dancing since she was in my belly. But she's always danced, but she's going through this phase right now where like only she can dance to her songs, but we can't dance. Like it's like if I'm dancing, I'm not paying all my attention to her. So now it's like if I'm in the kitchen, sometimes I'm making a snack for her or something, and I'm trying to work on choreography, and she sees me like from far away. She's like, "No dancing, mommy." I'm like, "Okay."
The dance Nazi.
Yeah. So it's like I hope this phase passes by quickly because I miss like just having her dance with us and stuff. It's always so much fun, and I need those moments to practice my choreography, and sometimes that's the only time I have. So like,
Kids, what are you gonna do?
Kids, yeah.
Well, I hope she grows out of that phase.
Yes.
So you offer dance classes for individuals. Did you do it online? Is there like some way?
Yeah, I do some online. Mostly we're doing in person here in Ottawa. I think just because, after COVID, I think we're all kind of like zoomed out with virtual classes. So, and I think because I've always, taught to like groups of people, like I miss that vibe, right? Like that social connection of just being in a room full of people. So I'm focusing more on that. I do a couple of classes online, but it's not my main focus right now.
Are you doing it through workshops or just
Yeah,
dance
so
classes? Do you have a
we have a studio, like a home studio that we teach out of. We also partner with gyms in the area. We just connected with it's an organization called Mommy Connection. So they organize really fun events for new moms. So we're partnering with them and teaching a few classes to their moms, and that's been super fun. We do a lot of festivals and events. We present at conventions. So we're going to be presenting actually this month at CanFit Pro. It's the CanFit Pro Global Conference. So it's like the biggest conference here in Canada. So we're very excited to do that in just a few weeks, actually. So we try to get out as much as possible just to have people experience our class as much as they can.
That sounds really fun. It's like dance and fun just go together to me.
Yes. And where do you live?
I live in Idaho.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll make it out to Idaho and you'll be able to come to a class.
It'd be better if you could make it to Utah, because I could get to Salt Lake faster than I could get to maybe Boise or Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
I'm just barely in Idaho.
Okay.
So now you're teaching people how to teach others how to do this, which I think is just fantastic way to get the message out. So tell us about how that looks.
Yeah, so we have an online course to teach instructors how to use our method to help more people, right, through the magic of dance. So it teaches everything, like all the choreography, how to embody the different styles, cueing that you need, because we do use vocal cueing that, some other programs don't use. So just to use our program as a way to just impact more lives. So we have that course going. And to me, like, that's so important, because I never felt like, when I started to feel like that calling in my heart, like even like BrazilyFitness, like the name just came to me. Like, and I was sitting on that, like dream for a few years actually, until I had the courage to be like, okay, I'm doing it. And ever since I started having this calling, right? Like, I feel like this is my purpose. It never felt like it was just about me, right? Like, it never felt like BrazilyFitness is just Mariana and Andre, my husband. It felt bigger than that, right? And I feel like we have something incredible that we can share with the world. But the best way to do that is to have a dream team working with us who embrace the vision and are, on the same mission as us, where they want to impact lives, they want to help more people, and just to help us like have a snowball effect. Because right now people need us more than ever, right? People are craving social connection, they're craving more joy in their lives, they're craving more meaning. And I think that the best way we can do that is if we work together, because it is a very big mission, right? So that's what the course is all about, is to empower instructors and also showcase them, right? Because a lot of instructors don't feel recognized for the work that they do behind the scenes, right? Because when you go to teach a class, there's a lot of prep work you have to do, right? To learn your choreography and all this stuff that gyms don't typically pay you for, right? So it sometimes is a little bit frustrating as an instructor to do all that work and not feel valued. So we want to have, our team grow with us. So as we expand around the world, we want to open new positions, like, so that people can showcase their talents by teaching other instructors, hosting practices, presenting at conventions, choreographing tracks that all the instructors will learn together. So just giving opportunities for them to elevate their career, right? And just showcase their unique talents.
That sounds just like so much fun. I keep saying that. It was just like, it's dance, and
Yeah.
I keep thinking about, I know yoga instructors often work with gyms, but dance is such a unique way of getting fit. And I
Mm-hmm.
know it's really powerful because you use a lot of muscles and you're not even
Yes.
really aware of the muscles that you're using
Mm-hmm.
until probably the next day. But
Yes. Yeah, for me, the most important benefit of dance is the confidence boosting aspect, right? Because, most people, like, you don't, like, some people, okay, are they're naturally, born dancers, right? They can follow the beat and like they get every move down right away. But I mean, that's rare. Like, for the most part, when you're trying a new dance class and you're learning a new style, like, there's some work involved, right? Like, you have to think a little bit. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. You need to like make some mistakes and just laugh through the process and keep going, right? And I think that that's the best way to boost confidence, is to do hard things, right? Is to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And just because it was hard the first time, it doesn't mean that it'll be hard forever, right? All you have to do is keep practicing. And I think that that's what's so important, and that's what transfers into your life, right? Like, that ripple effect that can happen in your life is what's so important, right? Because like, here I am starting a business that, by myself, no resources, like no money, like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I'm crazy. But like, because I've built confidence in myself over the years and I've seen what it's done to my life, and like the people who take my classes, like I believe that this is what I'm meant to do, right? But it wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone time and time again, right? And I think that there are so many people out there who have these dreams and they have this value that they're supposed to offer the world, and sometimes they don't have the courage to actually go after it because they just don't think they can do it, right? And I think that dance is a tool to help you, like, to remind yourself of your potential, because really you can do anything you want to do as long as you keep going.
when people take these courses from you, or not so much the coaches,
Mhm.
but the classes that the coaches will be teaching, is it like
Mhm.
start at the beginner level? I mean, with somebody that doesn't know anything,
It's
be able
for
to
all
like,
levels. Yeah. So the way that it's structured is there is a warm up, and then we have some songs that are a little bit easier to follow. And then we
Mhm.
have some songs that are purposely a little bit more complex because we want you to think a little bit, right? And,
Mhm.
like all the cognitive benefits that come with that too, right? Where you have to focus and really be present. So that's done on purpose. But the instructor always stops to preview. So, like, hey, we have this song coming up now. The chorus is a little bit more elaborate. So let's do it together, right? So what that does, it takes away the resistance from the brain, right? Because your brain's job is to protect you, right? So when you're doing something new and scary, it's going to tell you like mayday, mayday, like run away, right?
Uh,
Yeah. So even though it's something that's good for you, right? So you have to work with your brain. So that's why we're getting rid of like that push play and go, where like a lot of fitness classes, like you push play and they're like you never stop to preview anything. So we purposely take the time to preview. So the feedback we've had with our participants, people who take our classes, is that even though our choreography is more like challenging, more elaborate than some other programs, they feel like our classes are less intimidating because we take the time to meet them where they're at. We preview and they see that everyone's learning it together, right? Like no one is more advanced than the other person, right? Like everyone's just in it to have fun and to work on themselves. So that takes away the fear and just lets them enjoy the moment, right? So it's been really interesting because, to be honest, when I started, I was like, like I really want the program to be more choreographed because I believe in the confidence boosting effects of dance. But I was wondering, I was like, you know what, like maybe people think it's too hard, right? Like, because they've never heard this music before. And our feedback has been completely the opposite. Like, they find that it's easier to follow, it's less intimidating. And yeah, so it's really interesting.
it kind of reminds me of martial arts.
Hmm.
That comes to mind where you have specific moves that you have to learn, and
Hmm.
everybody starts at the beginning,
Yeah.
but you preview it and you
Hmm.
practice it, and
Hmm.
then it builds on each other. And so
Exactly.
and each class is interesting because you're
Hmm.
doing different things, but you're doing the same things because there's
Exactly.
like a,
Yeah, because when you keep coming to the classes, there are certain moves that repeat themselves. Like the foundational moves are always going to be there, right? There's always going to be something new and interesting here and there, but the foundation will stay pretty similar. And the more you come, like the more you'll get comfortable with the beat of Brazilian funk, for example. You'll be more familiar with the song. You'll remember, like, oh, I listened to this song last week. Like, I really liked it. And I remember that at this point we switched to the chorus. So I know a change is happening in the choreography, right? So that kind of stuff, it only happens with time, right? Like it's never going to happen if you just try one class, right? So you need to be willing to, like go with the flow, smile. And what I tell people, have fun, right? So even if you're not getting the moves down and like you've tried this step and you're just not getting it, like freestyle, and that's fine. Like no one cares, maybe that move just isn't for you today. Maybe you'll get it next week, right? So just like taking that pressure off, right? Like I think that a lot of times, like as adults, like we think that we have to be good at things right away. And that's just not realistic, right? Like we just need to show ourselves some grace and just have fun with the process and yeah, just go with the flow, I think.
being present, I think, is really important in these kinds of situations. And
Hmm.
just being open to you are who you are, and
Hmm.
everybody's going to look silly at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the thing is too is like manage your expectations, right? Because sometimes people tell me like, "Oh, my like you dance like so naturally." I'm like, "Yes, but like I've been teaching for 19 years." Like and when I started, I did not dance naturally. Like I didn't grow up like most Brazilian kids, dancing samba like since they're in diapers, right? Like that wasn't me. Like I remember going to Brazilian dance classes in Brazil and I would try some moves and I just wouldn't get them in the class. I would go home and practice in front of the mirror until I got it. And I'd be so excited to go back to the next class and try again. Right. So it's just like that perseverance, right, that makes a difference. And sometimes, like, even to this day, like I said, I've been teaching for 19 years, but if I'm putting a new song into my class, I practice that song over and over and over and over before I feel comfortable enough to teach it. So if I have to practice the song like 20, 30 times, and to feel comfortable teaching it. Why should you expect to get it the first time you've listened to the song, the first time you're trying it, right? It's just not realistic, right? So just, I think, changing your perspective of, I think sometimes people don't realize the work that happens behind the scenes. As a dance fitness instructor and a group fitness instructor, there's a lot of prep work. So when they're making it look easy, it's because they've practiced a lot.
So who would be the kind of person that you would want to come and be a coach with you, or want to come and take
Honestly, people
get
who
certified?
really, embody our values, right? Which is that of helping people and just adding more joy to people's lives. And also people who are team players, right? We don't want people to come in and be like, I'm the star. It's like, I think that we all have something unique to offer. And I think that we need to work together. Like, I think that there's strength and unity. So just people who are willing to grow together, right? So, like, if you have a class that you're running and you tried out a strategy and it's working really well, like maybe for retention or to bring new members in the door, share that, right? Like, we want to learn from each other because that's how we'll grow. So just people who love to dance, people who, really feel connected to the music, because that's a big thing too, right? Like, because it is all Brazilian music. Yeah, people who are high vibes like us.
So I think from what you're saying, you're training people to do this in
Mhm.
your coaching program, but it's not like a 3-month training program and then you're out the door on your own. You're an
No,
independent contractor. It's like
no.
you become part of our family, and we're all going to
Yes.
work together to build this movement of Brazilian
Yes. I
dance
love
and
that how you said
fitness.
that. That's how I see it. It's a movement. Yeah.
That
Exactly that. Yeah. And like what I've been doing for the past year or two is I've been networking, connecting with so many people in the fitness industry, experts in different areas, because, my area of expertise is the Brazilian dance, it's the programming side of things. But I'm not necessarily an expert in marketing and sales and like the business side, right? But I know that we all need that, right, to grow our businesses. So I'm making connections with people who will be able to offer support on those areas, right? So people who will come in and give talks on, how to improve your social media marketing, how to do email marketing, do all these things, because those are parts of the equation that are important, but fitness instructors don't necessarily like thinking about because we're so focused on like, I want to help people, I want to help people, but we forget that to help more people, people need to know we exist, right? Which means that we need to market better, right? So and making these partnerships with people strategically, because I know that it's a piece of the puzzle that's really important to help spread our message.
Yeah, it's the whole coaching dilemma when you
Hmm.
decide to become a coach, no matter what kind of coach you decide you're going to become, you
Hmm.
get certified and you're just like waiting for your clients to show up. I'm
Yeah.
certified, and that never happens. And suddenly they're entrepreneurs, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of instructors, they aren't very entrepreneurial, right? Some of them are, but I think for the most part, they're happy just, going to the gym, getting hired to teach a few classes a week and getting paid that fixed rate. But if they kind of stop to analyze, right? Like if they rent their own space and build their own following, they're going to help so many more people, and they're also going to be paid more fairly, right? Because the gym is only going to pay you a flat rate, regardless of if you have 5 people in the class or if you have 30 people in the class, right? But of course, that involves risk, and that involves planning and marketing, right? So it can be tough at first, but it's so worth it, right? In the end. And I think that the best way to do that is, working together with a team, people who are going through the same struggles, and sharing, wins and like struggles too, because, it's like, say like, oh, okay, she's struggling with that too. Okay, it's not just me, right? So it makes you feel less alone in the process.
and also because it really isn't an online thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more local thing.
Mm-hmm.
As your network grows, you're able to like help each other, because some people, people move
Mm-hmm.
and they have different connections in different areas.
Yeah.
I might have friends in your neighborhood and you might have friends in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Not likely, but It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. It's
You
a
can
small world.
let the, it is a really small world. I have stories
Yes.
about that too. In fact, one of the guests that I had on this podcast not that long ago, her dad and my dad know each other in a very small community in Pebble
Wow.
Creek, Arizona. And we didn't know each other, and we didn't know about them knowing each other.
Wow.
Just met on the podcast. So that was like, what small world.
Yeah.
So never say never.
Yes.
Anyway, it just helps in the whole networking process if you have cohesiveness among the people that you're training to
Hmm.
do this, and so your message can get out and just kind of snowball out
Yeah.
around you. I just like,
Yeah,
okay,
and
have fun.
I'm a firm believer too that, like we're all like, especially as fitness instructors, there are certain people who are out there waiting for you to step out. Right? They're waiting for you specifically. Like even if you're teaching the same program as someone down the street, they need you, right?
Right.
And so like you have to be willing to step up, right? And so and like when you think of it that way, like and then you start to realize like I'm not really competing with anyone, right? Like I'm building my tribe. My vibe is going to attract my tribe, right? So I'm not like getting rid of that like scarcity, like, oh, there aren't enough clients for everyone, right? Because it's just not true, right? And I think that the more you show up as you, the more your soulmate clients will show up, right? So I think that that's so important. Like that's why I say like it's so important to have that like teamwork, like thought process. Because if you come into our team and you think like, oh, like I'm competing with a new instructor who just got certified in my city, then that's not really the vibe that we're looking for. Like I think that there's room for everyone.
I like the cooperation
Yes.
where everybody is just pushing each other up, and you're
Yeah.
going to go up too, just because, the more you get the message out there, the more everybody else knows about it, and they can
Hmm.
find you. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of letting your light shine, and people will find you. And
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't matter if there's like, we have, I think, 3 or 4 yoga coaches in our town. And I know I keep talking about yoga, but I think we have ballroom dancing here too. And we're a
Okay.
little town, like,
Oh,
5,000
okay.
people or something. So,
Oh, okay.
but the yoga instructors, they all know each other, and a lot of them have been trained by one person, or,
Hmm.
fit zoning is another thing that's really popular around here. But it's the whole idea that there's a lot of people to serve.
Hmm.
Not everybody is going to be drawn to the one person who's certified, because you may not be giving your classes at a time that's convenient for the person that really wants to
Hmm.
do this. So
Hmm.
the more people you have that are certified and able to help, the better everybody does, really.
Yeah, and honestly, like right now, we're living a very scary situation in the world. Like people are more unhealthy than ever. Obesity is on the on the rise. Heart disease is on the rise. Like everyone's just getting sicker and sicker. Like there are so many people who need us right now. Like there are so many studies that show that right now, gyms, they're all targeting the same 20% of the population that are all already active. They're already taking care of their health, right? What about that 80% of the people who aren't doing anything? Like that's a lot of people that we're like failing right now. We're not getting them moving. We're not exciting them about fitness. And we need to change that. Like we need to get together and improve our messaging and meet people where they're at, and understand that like sometimes like like I'm a personal trainer. So I know all the benefits of strength training. I know that it's so important, especially as we age, especially as women. But there are so many trainers out there. They're like, you must do strength training, like, and that's your priority. It's like I get that, but if someone who has been sitting on a couch for years and years, uh, it finally feels motivated to go to the gym and they can't stand the thought of going into a weight room, like maybe that's not the first thing they should start with, right? Like get them in the door first, like get them excited, help them build community at the gym, like make some friends and feel like safer. And then over time, start, talking to them like, hey, let's try adding some strength training because of these reasons, right? Like meet people where they're at. And I think that a lot of a lot of personal trainers forget that, right? Because they've been active for so long and they just think, oh, it's so amazing. Why doesn't everyone know how amazing it is? And it's like, well, not everyone is where you are, right? And that's the first mistake, is to think that they are. So I think that there's so many things that we could improve as an industry to understand where people are actually at and help them get started, but also sustain their results, right? Because so many people join and then, they get too excited and they jump in and do too much all at once. And then after a couple of weeks, they're done, right? And that's the wrong way of doing it. So how do we coach them? Yeah, they get injured. And then it becomes like unsustainable, right? Because like we were talking about, like the brain's job is to keep you safe, right? So if you are overloading it with new things, it's going to shut off on you. So they've done studies about how, like, the best way actually when you're joining a gym, and if you haven't done it for a while, is to tie your shoelaces, get dressed, and walk into the gym and walk out. Do that for a few weeks. Like, don't even exercise. Like, just build the routine of going to the gym and leaving, a few times a week. Because that's what it's about. It's like building that routine into your lifestyle. And if you can make it easier in the beginning, the odds are you're going to be able to sustain it for much longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you get comfortable with the idea of walking in the door. And if you could walk in the door and then go to the room where you're going to dance for a while, and then you're just releasing all those happy endorphins, because, who can't listen to happy music and not be happy?
Yes.
You're moving your body. So you're reinforcing that with what you're hearing, and you're laughing because, everybody struggles in the beginning. Everybody. So yeah. I'm loving it. I'm seeing your vision. I'm really like, how can I work this into my life schedule?
Well, hopefully we'll have instructors all over the world one day soon, and then you'll be able to find some classes close to you.
I'm hoping so. I think I'm going to hook you up with some friends of mine that own a gym here locally.
Awesome. Yeah. And actually, that's what I was
that afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because right now, like what we're looking to do is to find gym owners and studio owners who are looking to offer something new to their members. And maybe they have an instructor on their team already who teaches another format that would be a good fit for our format. So in exchange, like we're not going to be charging licensing fees or anything like that to use our brand, but really just like get the program out there, get feedback from members. And we have some ideas too, like I said, to improve retention and just to get people to stay on board longer, right? So we have some ideas that we want to test out on a greater scale. So any gyms and studio owners right out there, like if you're interested, we're definitely looking for people to partner with us.
So be sure and look at the links in the show notes, or reach out to me somewhere and I'll hook you up with Mariana. So what's the one thing you want people to take away from this conversation today?
I want people to realize that, to always believe in their potential, right? And to believe in themselves, and to find a tool to boost your confidence, to remind yourself of just how awesome you are. And that can be through dance, but that can be through any other way, right? Just find that thing that gets you excited, because it's so important. Like, I don't want people, like my goal really through the dance program is like, yes, I want people to have fun. I want that joy. I want all that happiness. But what I want really is for people to chase their dreams, because I know that that's what leads to fulfillment, right? It's not like, there's a quote that I love that says, challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. And that's exactly what it's all about, right? Like people right now, we're trying to run away from challenges as much as we can, but at the same time, anxiety is on the rise, depression is on the rise. People are just not happy, even though life is technically easier with all technology, right? So something isn't adding up, right? And the whole thing that we have to remember is that human beings, like we're meant to face challenges, but we're meant to do it in a way that we feel supported and we give ourselves grace. So believe in yourself and always chase your dreams.
Oh, I love that. I was getting goosebumps. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so on social media, on pretty much every platform, you can find us. So it's BrazilyFitness. So it's Brazil with a Y at the end, fitness all together. And our website is like the same thing. So BrazilyFitness.com. And there is a button right at the top that says become a Brazili dance instructor. So that gives all the information about the online course and how you can become an instructor. There's also a calendar link for gyms and studio owners that they could book a time with me and talk about how we can bring Brazili dance to your location and get people moving the Brazili way. And yeah, so just connecting on social media would be great, or via our website.
That sounds great. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Anytime. I was happy to be here.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.